better. Hopefully that's better, and hopefully the quality options will kick in anyway. But that shouldn't be a problem because I stream in 720 all the time. I've been doing it for 4 months. I've only been playing with the 1080 recently, but yeah, it should be. Hopefully that's back. Let's hear back from chat real quick just to make sure, because this is for you guys, so we don't want to deprive you of the of the glory that these backstories All right.
I just feel bad. My backstory is not long. The introduction is actually rather short. Everything else is super long, though.
Please don't feel bad that it's not long.
That's what she said?
I'm already going to be reading for a long time. I can tell.
I actually wanted to go for shorter because I like to reveal my character as he's played more.
Right.
Great. It looks to be all right now. Excellent. Oh, there's only 2 viewers in here now? Damn!
They all left! Oh no!
How do we only have 2 viewers and all these
Chris,
people are
grow a
chatting?
longer beard immediately.
There's more people in call that are listening to it than that.
Shiver! What's up, Shiver? I'm glad you Shiver made it out here.
Give it a second. Every time someone restarts a stream, the numbers of viewers is always screwed up for a little bit.
Oh, dude, it's fine. Everyone's here.
Yeah, we'll say it's that, guys. With what someone said in chat, it's Twitch plays Pokemon again.
Oh god. For the longest time, my friends thought I hated Twitch plays Pokemon, and I'm like, I don't hate it, not at all. I just hate what it's gonna do to the internet for the next 2 weeks, where you hear nothing but the Helix fossil. I was playing Dark Souls 2, and I was invaded by a follower of the Helix fossil. Mind you, I killed him with extreme prejudice immediately, gave him no room to breathe. Basically jumped on him like a rabid spider monkey. But I was just like, even in Dark Souls, why?
Phoenix, what's up, man?
All right, everybody. Done editing.
I think I'm done editing, if you think it's okay.
It doesn't matter what I think, buddy.
Hey, it's got to be read out, and you're the one reading it, so.
I'm going to attempt to read whatever's there, so.
Oh, God. That doesn't make me feel any better about the edits I've made. All right. Let's read this aloud to myself. I think I got it finally.
So let's I'm gonna throw a theory out here. Somebody in the party might be dying tonight.
No.
Sorry, guys. I tried really hard.
That's too mean. I hope no one dies in the party, but I know that the dice rolls could be forever not in your favor.
Oh, man.
Just as the same.
Are forever never in my favor. Ever.
Just the same, I could roll extremely poor as well. Then again, there could be the situation that I roll just straight 20s all the time. And the most hysterical thing would be if you're fighting like a tiny, tiny rat that has a hit point and it can kill you. That would be hysterical, but...
That's not the bite that kills you, it's all the infections.
The gonorrhea.
Nice. Oh, great. What I do with the world background.
Yeah, like T. Clark says in chat, because I'm reading chat, and they'll hear this. Totally. My 20-sided die, all the numbers are 20. Come on. There's that 1 on there. Just the 1. But all the rest are 20. Come on. Of course. A DM always has to use loaded dice when they play. Come on.
Yeah, is this going to get into the thing where they're like, well, technically the side with 20 is heavier, so it shouldn't roll 20 as much?
Well, just to clarify, I'm not physically rolling my dice. I'm going to be doing the same rolls as they're using, and I'm using the website's rolls.
Arma, be nice. I don't always roll face palms. Not always. I mean, just most of the time. Most of the time, it's face bombs. I mean, it was obvious when I tried to sneak and I rolled terribly. I was like, okay, that's never going to happen again. We can't be having any of that. Ah, smoke's onto you, Hells. Everything's updated, by the way. You can read it aloud. It's not terrible, I hope.
All right.
So we're good to go?
I mean, I've been good to go for a couple minutes here. You guys just
All right.
left me enough time to keep changing things.
All right, then here we go. We're starting right now for the reads. Here we go.
Yes, so a familiar person that you know is trapped in a strange place. We're going to talk about that right now. Hold on while I transform. Oh, finally, there's someone here. Hello. My name is Deckard Kane, and I've been trapped here in this void for some time. I have no idea how long it's been since I've seen another human face. If you could, please, stay a while and listen. I can hardly remember how I got here, but I do have a faint memory of a strange butterfly woman yelling angrily at me and casting a spell. I believe she is responsible for my being here. It is a strange place indeed. Periods of darkness, which seem to last for millennia, followed by brief visions of heroes doing great deeds, people leading interesting lives, massive events taking place. These events seem to hardly ever be of the same world from which I came. I seem to be in some sort of magical interdimensional looking glass, as it were. I see many interesting things in this vision. This world I see, somehow. I know it. I have never been here before, but mysteriously, I seem to know everything about this land. Yes, it is Falonde, the world of the blue sun. It's a vast world of many different races and kingdoms, many of which have been bound together by a common hatred for the evil tyrant ruler of the kingdom of Natas. Eventually, war was triggered by a small revolt that all other kingdoms backed. It raged on for 50 years with many lives to its toll, but finally, the war ended with the forming of Espans, a small peninsula kingdom extruding off the Natas. In this newly liberated land of peace, the kingdoms now focused on the problems in their own lands. But a storm of evil still yet brews in Natas. I believe a bit of background is in order as to the rest of the kingdoms. First, the Diamond Tips. It is home to the innovative dwarves who have supplied the world with the means of an economy by consistently crafting weapons and new items of great purpose, fueled by the mines within these lands which are practically never-ending. This kingdom has been ruled by rotating leaders from one of 5 clans that comprise the royalty of the region. After a full term, the next clan in line elects a leader, so it has been for many generations. Within their kingdom, they have developed a new and greatly powerful weapon, the likes of which this world has never before seen. Handheld cannons. This weapon has been sought after by all and given to none. Next is the Elven Kingdom, Tora Nil. They are a secretive people, and their kingdom remains aloof in diplomatic circles. When elves asked to join the war in Natas, it shocked many of the kingdoms, as most of them had no information or contact with the elves for centuries. Their sudden aid helped greatly to win the freedom of Esfons. Next is the kingdom of Natas. The rulers and remaining citizens of Natas are the embodiment of pure evil. After losing in a civil war that has split their territory, they have now focused on improving their army through magical means. Rumors have been spread that the human ruler is nothing more than a puppet for the true ruler, an immortal, born of pure darkness. Next is Esfons, the land of freedom, a newly formed kingdom. With the aid of all the world, won their revolt to free themselves from the evil rule of the Natas kingdom. This revolt sparked when it was apparent that the ruler of the kingdom was an evil man. His actions confirmed this theory at the expense of great suffering to the people of his kingdom. The revolt lasted 50 years before Natas admitted defeat. Next is the Stone Shadow Coast, a trade kingdom that is home to the gnome population. Their biggest port is Haydale, where they are famous for their lumber industry. There are rumors that there is a crimson necromancer cult in these lands. This land is also home to the Tower of Eternal Night, which permeates a 20-mile radius of darkness. Next is the Kingdom of Galicia. This harsh world is home only to a select few that can handle the punishing cold. It is mostly inhabited by catfolk who have thick hides. Not much else is known about this kingdom. The next is the Kingdom of Sotan. This kingdom is home of the humans. A notable legend states that in this kingdom, it is said to be the landing site of a fallen angel who has been rumored to roam the land since the time of his betrayal. Next is Praxis, a mixture of elves, humans, gnomes, and dwarves all inhabit this kingdom. It is also the home of savage bands of orcs who incessantly raid the settlements in the area. Next is the Dark Haven. All the races of the world live in the Dark Haven. However, it is said that the inhabitants of this region are tainted by an unknown evil force. Next is the coughing man mysteriously letting go in the background. The Shivering Isles. This kingdom is home to the amphibious Naga, who have only recently been recognized by other kingdoms as being a civilized race. It is said that the Naga spent hundreds of years repairing the haunting reputation of their violent ancestors. The Naga now have a foothold in the diplomacy of the civil realms and can finally fight for the greater good. Lastly is the area known as the Nocturnal Abyss. This hard and bitter land is the home of the catfolk as well as a mysterious race called the Dhampir. The catfolk have devoted their lives to helping the Dhampir seem indiscernible from humans. It is not apparent to me why they would do this, but I suspect some foul purpose is behind it. It would appear that the catfolk's cunning has been working, for the rest of the world seems oblivious to the existence of the Dhampir. Yes. In this world now I see the lives of several adventurers which seem to intertwine with one another. Yes, most interesting. Let's take a closer look at these heroes. The first one I see is named Kazuya. Kaz had a very fast-paced childhood, with his parents always wanting to travel. He didn't make many friends that he kept. Though he was adept at talking to people and making friends fast, he quickly learned these ties would not last. The one thing that remained stable in Kez's life was his family. He grew up watching his father take dangerous jobs, even once standing up to a group of thugs that were trying to shake down a merchant as people just watched. Kez watched in awe as he saw his father gracefully incapacitate without even drawing his rather large, dark-colored sword. His mother just stood there, patting him on the back and smiling. Kez's mother wasn't much of a fighter, but for some reason carried a sword about the same size as his father's, though this sword's metal was an extremely light color, almost a white color. Kez never understood why his mother carried such a sword, but eventually, like the rest of his strange life, it became the norm. Around Kez's 10th year of his life, his parents decided he should visit his homeland, the Nocturnal Abyss. While traveling through the forest before reaching their destination, they were attacked by a large demon. It was at that time that Kez saw his father draw both the sword on his back and on his mother's back to attack the demon. Though he fought to the extent of his ability, he was still cut down by the demon. Kez's mother ran along with him quite some way until they came to a fork in the road. She told him to run down the left path as far as he could until he found other catfolk. Then, in a swift motion before Kez could even react, she ran back down the path they came from toward the beast. In such a short time, Kez lost both his parents, the only people in his life that he had stability with. Kez never felt more powerless in his life. He ran for his life until he reached other catfolk. After he explained what happened, they took him in. From that day forward, Kez became nearly obsessed with training his physical ability. Eventually, he ventured back out into the woods to give his parents a proper burial. It was then he took up his father's swords and began an even more intense training. Much later in his life, he became a bit of a mercenary, taking jobs, taking down monsters or bandits, finding lost people. While out looking for a missing person, Kez happened upon a girl laying in the woods. She looked flush and unconscious. Due to his curious nature, he walked closer to the girl, only nearly to be jumped on. Kez jumped back, instinctively ready to fight, when the strange girl again fell to the ground. Upon closer inspection, Kez found the girl to be a Dhampir, the half-human, half-vampire race that the catfolk has been protecting for many years. Realizing why she attacked, Kez quickly pulled the girl up against a tree, sitting her up. He then pulled a knife from his pack and quickly cut a rather large gash in his hand and poured the blood into her mouth. She quickly woke up and drank the blood from his hand. From that intense incident, a close friendship was born. From then on, Susanna, the Dhampir, and Kezia, the catfolk, were inseparable. I see another hero here. Yes, indeed, it is this Susanna that we have just learned of. In the past, the Dampier have been tucked away in the shadows, mostly scattered across the many kingdoms, but most enjoy the company of the catfolk. The younger Dampier enjoy being in the company of their brethren and vampiric family members more than their human counterparts. A very specific Dampier has risen to the cause of fighting against her nocturnal ways. Susanna, a traditionally trained hunter, learning from her vampiric father. After a time, the father distanced himself from Susanna and her mother. He didn't want to handle a child that was not about their traditional ways. Eventually, that caused a rift between Susanna and her mother, which hadn't ended just the way it should. Susanna's hands and face were covered in blood while her mother lay on the ground dead. Realizing the crime she committed, Susanna fled. She ran as far as she could into the nocturnal abyss to survive for days without any sort of nourishment. Several days had passed before Susanna couldn't go any further and collapsed into a small clearing in the woods. Soon, a larger catfolk came to find her ruined state. This wasn't what she wanted. She didn't need any more blood on her hands. She lashed out towards him, hoping to scare him off, get him away from the possible threat. Though all fell through and back to the earth as she fell. Okay. The wonderful man carried her over to a nearby tree, or what felt like was a tree, before she even thought to fight him. A most wondrous liquid poured into her mouth. The man could see her eyes change and feel her attempting to drink the blood offered so freely. In some magical way, Susanna the Magus and Kazuya the Catfolk were inseparable. Kazuya had brought Susanna back to his kingdom and introduced her to some of her own people. But they were all similar in the fact that they wanted to fight their nocturnal traditions. The other Dampier did not know this for sure, but Susanna is on the hunt for her lost vampiric uncle, the Shadow Prince, who was the first of his kind to fight his traditions. No one is sure where he may be at this point in time, but rumors are spread, and Susanna has made it her goal to find him, and hopefully be able to fight against the Shadow Lord, her great-grandfather. This is why Kazuya and Susanna are in Lefield, the hallowed city. Indeed, there is another hero that has flashed before my eyes. And again, somehow I know almost everything about him. As from the ancient kingdom of Gilead, a young noble named Edward Dean has just completed his gunslinger training. In his world, it is the gunslinger's duty to protect the land and its inhabitants. And although the world itself seems to be deteriorating, the chivalry and honor by which the gunslingers live remains strong. One day, a mysterious stranger came into the kingdom. He told that the period of great darkness was approaching the land. He spoke of worlds that lie next to ours, worlds that cannot be seen or traversed. Until recently, the stranger said, the boundaries that separate these worlds have begun to wear thin, and that the corruption has begun to poison the land. The stranger claimed to be a practitioner of magic, and with a few displays of this arcane power was able to convince the king of his power. The king then welcomed the stranger, who gave his name as Walter O'Dim, to stay the night at the castle so that they might discuss these events further over the coming days. Later that night, Edward was called to his father's chambers. Henry Dean was a childhood friend of the king and a gunslinger of great renown. Edward was surprised to see that his father was in full battle gear at such a late hour. He was polishing the sandalwood grips of his ancient revolvers. He spoke in the serious tone that he always used when on duty. "Sir Edward Dean of Gilead, the king has assigned your first task as a gunslinger. You are to accompany me to this temple where this Walter O'Dim claims to have hailed from. A king knows his kingdom. No temple should exist there. We are to investigate the origins and intentions of this Walter while the king entertains him here." After a moment, Henry's face softened a bit, and he said, "It's just a recon mission. The king does not trust Walter, and neither do I, but this corruption he speaks of is real. We must discover if he is the cause. You needn't worry. Just trust in your training. The king himself has stated that you have the potential to be a great gunslinger, and you're quicker than I was at your age." Henry holstered his guns with a flourish. "Our family has always served to wield these guns to protect this kingdom, as the Deans always have. The temple was a 2 days' ride away, and the trip was uneventful. The temple was reported to be in a box canyon near the foot of a mountain range. As they approached the location, Edward's father seemed to grow uneasy. "This canyon should not be here," he said. "There's some foul sorcery at work. Approach with caution. Remember your training." He then glanced over and looked Edward in the eye. "If anything happens to me, you run back to the kingdom and warn the king. Do not wait for me. My mission is different than yours." Henry then fixed his stare back to the canyon opening and rode on. Edward had never seen his father like this. This was his first mission, and this only unnerved him further. As they approached the entrance to the canyon, Eddie began to hear a slight warbling sound. Barely at first, but as they had rode into the canyon entrance, the warbling intensified, almost to the point where it hurt the ears. And as they cleared the entrance, the sound vanished entirely. In an instant, Henry's guns were drawn. Eddie's instincts led him to the same. But to a gunslinger's eyes, where a fraction of a second means the difference between life and death, Henry's reputation as the fastest draw was clearly well-deserved. "This is not our home," he said. "Stay behind me and follow my orders. I speak not only as your father, but as your commander as well." Along the back wall of the canyon stood a temple. It stood pristine and white, as though it had been built that day. As they entered the main chamber, they saw a cloaked figure standing at an altar within. Both gunslingers instinctively leveled their pistols at the figure, and with a voice like a lion's roar, Henry ordered the figure to the ground. There was no movement. A few seconds later, the figure began to chuckle and laugh to the point of hysteria. He finally said, "Your king is dead." Now you will join him. And before Walter could turn around, Henry and Edward had already begun firing. The shot to effect. They seemed to miss their mark. Walter then raised a single hand and uttered a word. Eddie was petrified where he stood. He glanced over at his father to see that whatever had taken him hold had not affected his father. Henry moved with a quickness while reloading his revolver at the same time. And soon he was unloading rounds upon Walter again. This time, a round hit home, though it only grazed Walter's ear. Walter screamed wildly in what sounded almost like laughter. He grasped at the blood on his ear and then flourished his arms toward Henry. Henry froze on the spot. Walter began to laugh hysterically. Walter walked up to Henry and removed the guns from his hands. I can't believe any of these still exist in this dying world, he said, as he threw the guns to the ground. He then turned to Eddie with a chilling smile and said, "It seems so cruel to kill someone so young and full of promise. Farewell, young gunslinger." Walter raised a finger to Eddie's face, and a flash of light erupted from his hand. Searing pain shot through every part of Eddie's body, and the last thing he remembered seeing was Walter's grinning, sadistic face and the terrified look of his father. Darkness came, then a sound, movement, footsteps upon stone. Eddie opened his eyes. There was no sign of Walter or his father. He appeared to still be in the temple, or the ruins of it. The stones had aged. Dust and cobwebs covered every surface, but something on the ground glinted with dim light. Eddie crawled toward the object. It was one of his father's revolvers. It was terribly damaged, but it could be and would be fired again. This Eddie knew. As the footsteps began to get closer, Eddie attempted to level the pistol at whatever would be walking through the door. But weakness took hold, and Eddie began to lose consciousness again as he saw a figure, short in stature, moving towards him.
All right, the old man has to take a short break.
Oh man.
That
Dude.
was amazing.
I mean, when I wrote this, I was really, really happy with the final result, but hearing you read it, dude, like I had chills the whole time. You made it sound so much cooler than it is when I read it to myself. So, and I can imagine that you need a break on that. That story,
Yeah,
by
it's
the
a
way,
lot to
yeah,
read.
because this man needs to get a drink of water, get a breather in. But yeah, man, that story, man, I wrote that. It's the kind of thing I've been thinking about this character for about a month. Definitely inspired by Dark Tower and everything, and I wrote all that today, probably about 20 minutes, just like got it all down. So
Pretty nice, man.
oh man. But yeah, that was an excellent reading. Trust me, it sounded so much better being read than it did just reading it on paper. Because reading on paper, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But hearing it read like that was like, wow, wow, amazing.
The voice, so perfect.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna grab another beer.
I feel like a scrub. I'm over here drinking coffee.
Iced coffee?
Yes, iced coffee.
Bro, I'm drinking Dr. Pepper.
Technically speaking, an iced latte.
What the hell?
Well, I was up until 8 o'clock in the morning, slept for like an hour. Oh, wow. Slept for like an hour, went to work, stayed at work all day, came home, played Dark Souls, then got dragged on Star Wars, and then got dragged immediately to here. So, yeah. I need some coffee.
Well, drink the coffee.
I am. I am drinking the coffee. What happened to your tiara?
I put it away.
Why?
Because it hurt to wear with my headset.
Excuses.
Nice stories so far, by the way. I wish I would have had time to Deckard Caneify them, but I had to work today, so...
T. Clark, I always have
It's okay.
Yeah, it is perfectly okay. With what you're doing now is awesome.
Oh, I didn't even expect to read, like, by the way, I did actually hear the story. I just had to take a phone call that came at, like, the worst time ever. So I had to turn my computer on, like, actually listening through my my TV and listen to everything. And I didn't honestly expect you to read that part of the story. I just expected, like, the intro. But, no, that was awesome. It's fantastic. Thank you, sir.
All right, I want to Spectrum. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to greet people that I didn't get a chance to greet. I know Spectrum. How are you doing, man? How is MegaCon? What else you got in here? Yeah, guys, the voice acting was amazing.
So good.
Yeah,
so good. It makes the character that much more epic, in my
And
opinion.
we have 2 stories left to go.
Yeah,
That is true. We do still have 2 left.
But see, like, I mean, and the guys, if for anybody who hasn't watched our D&D sessions before, oh, retro. No, this is a new one. This is a new one that started a new Hells campaign, and then we're doing the other one tomorrow. But oh, what was that? We got a follow. KNE, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Great to see you. Great to see you, and thank you for joining us. But like, you know, we started doing characters like this because, we started doing D&D like this because, you know, I feel like 99% of my D&D sessions have been, we get together, we make characters that night. We don't have background stories. We just assume that we're all together in a bar and we started it. Now, that's fine. Starting together in a bar, that's a great place. That's where D&D happens. Shit, we're all meeting in a bar. But see, it's not just a bar. You see what I mean? Like, we actually know, like, when you write your own character backstory, you don't have to think about how it's played anymore. You know this character. You know what I mean? So now it's just it's natural at this point. You know what I mean? And it's a lot more fun, and it makes combat more fun. When you start playing this character, and it makes for more meaningful combat sessions. And I'm really spouting off everything that Shiver taught me. I really need to give Shiver the props here, because he was really the one that got us thinking about looking at D&D in this way. So, a lot, and you guys will be seeing Shiver tomorrow. Yeah, I saw that my thing is kind of borked. That's no problem. I
know.
Whoops! Didn't mean to do that.
I know the character, the background stories, and the freedom to that's what I'm looking for. The kind of freedom to have that sort of character you really want to build just kind of adds a little bit of flavor and adds a little bit extra to those characters. Because I mean, the archetype I'm using isn't even a standard archetype. Like it's really, really, really out there. Right. So I kind of like that I can kind of take that and kind of build it into the story for the character itself too.
Right. And
another note to state when it comes to these guys' characters, I was implementing, because Pathfinder allows you to take traits that your character can has, and these guys are rocking traits and drawbacks, so they have disadvantages that could come up in the campaign at any time.
You know what? This is actually a good time for you to explain that, Hells, because a lot of people, for example, knew nothing about traits and drawbacks. Now, you don't have to really get into like the particular breaking them down, but like, you know, just let them know that, you know, basically we were
What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to post the actual links to traits and drawbacks in the chat. That way they can see them.
That'd be awesome. But so, with traits on a campaign for Pathfinder, there are 4 things that the DM can decide. Basic traits that the PCs can use. There is campaign traits, and there's regional, race, and religion traits. I allowed these guys to get 2 basic traits, which break down in their own separate categories that you'll be able to see when Chrono posts the links. And within those, they could pick 2. I allowed them to pick a 3rd one, which could be a religion and or race trait, and these traits are mostly there to give them bonuses. It's something that their character gets a plus on. They get something special that boosts their characters in a way. I also allowed them to take a drawback to get an extra trait. And the drawbacks basically make it to where they have to be extremely cautious with some of the things. One of them, referencing Cruzette's, has a diplomacy thing, where if she fails a diplomacy check, she'll be shaken for an hour. Chris actually has 2 drawbacks because of how his character came in. This world is heavily magic. There's magic in there. There's magic users. It's not uncommon. But Chris's character hasn't seen this. So he has a drawback that if someone tries to cast a spell on him, he has a 50-50 chance that it will... what was the effect?
Okay, for example, like, if someone wants to heal me, like, even if it's a beneficial spell, I have such, like, superstition when it comes to magic that I still have to roll a saving throw, or else it may not affect me. You know what I'm saying? So, that's how suspicious... And see, the thing is, I only had to take 1, but I decided to take 2 because I thought it would be fun.
He also wanted to take nonchalant thuggery, but apparently his character wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, nonchalant thuggery. I'm definitely when I roll a rogue, my rogue is going to have nonchalant thuggery as a.
Chris, I think that needs to be a bot command now.
You know what? Nonchalant thuggery needs to be the name of my D&D night.
I'm telling you, I still feel like nonchalant thuggery. If your gunslinger was going to use it, I feel like this is the situation would happen.
No.
We're somewhere looking for information, and we ask about something, and the guy's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And immediately you just pull your pistol out and lay it on the counter, and you're like, how about now?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about now. Nonchalant thuggery.
It was funny because Andros was actually thinking, he was like, you need to think of a name for your D&D night. Just like they have role play, they have dicing with death, they have all that stuff. You need to think with a name, and I think it's going to be nonchalant thuggery might be the one.
Nonchalant thuggery at night.
Yeah.
So,
well, what I'm doing right now is I'm going to be working on my macros while we're waiting.
I should write those, huh?
Macros are great.
I should write
So
macros
my macro,
full
first
attacks.
macro I'm going to be doing is my point blank shot.
It's a pretty good macro to have.
Oh, you gotta have. I live by these things now, and I'm probably gonna mess them up. But you start out like the little for example, for like my point blank shot, I'll say, I think it's me levels his pistol at a nearby opponent. I learned all this stuff from Reverend Panda. He taught me a lot about macros, and I forgot it all already. But I'm hoping to do more of it. Nonchalant thuggery is a big deal. It's a real thing. Okay, so I'd level my pistol at a real opponent. Let me test that macro real quick. Did that pop in well? Did that read?
Chris levels his pistol at a nearby opponent. Yep.
Okay, and I need to change my name actually in game to Roland. And then what I would do here is my point blank shot. I would look at that, and that's going to be what, a roll. It's always going to be a roll d20. You got to put a space plus whatever my. I bring my character sheet up here. And I hope Reverend Panda is in here watching so he can yell at me if I'm doing it incorrectly.
Being bad, basically.
He's, you know what, this guy, what I love, okay, Reverend Panda, while I was out running errands a couple weeks ago before we did our other session, I get this email from Reverend Panda, and he's saying, he's basically written an entire outline about what future traits I should look at and like future feats I should look at. He wrote out macros. He found the errors that I made in my math, and there were a lot. The guy really hooked it up. In fact, what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to copy my macros from my other roll 20.
I had to find out the formula to use for macros in this. Because I'm only used to writing macros for Final Fantasy.
Whenever you're ready to continue reading,
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
I'm going to say feel free to cut everybody off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But in the
Oh, I'm
meantime-
ready. I thought we were waiting for the AFKers.
Oh no, you're good.
Oh,
You're
we
good.
are still missing Monkey. But yeah, you can go ahead and start reading, I guess. Can't you?
Yeah, go ahead and start.
All right, well, I mean, he's not here, but I'm going to read Monkey's story by
Maybe he
request in the Vinx voice. So, this is in the first person. The bootstrap felt cold yet comforting in my hand as I laced the boots protecting my feet. Finally, I can leave the mountain. So many missed opportunities due to the war. Only 2 years of peace can be officially declared in my life yet. I was always too young or clumsy to set foot on the battlefield. Unfortunately, the war was still present in our home. My hands began to tremble as the last strap slid through its steel buckle. I know the acts others will make and the means our clansmen would go through to counter such actions. We were all wrong. Getting to my feet brought my eyes in line with the family crest hanging upon my wall. Father is concerned, but not about me leaving. He is wise enough to understand why I must be gone, yet distracted by the choices he must make now that the war is over. Staying by his side is an option, but if you leave metal in the forge even for a moment too long, the product is ruined. Hefting the backpack off the chair, I took a deep breath before glancing one last time around my room. A smile appeared on my face as I remember the years spent living within these walls. I may never return. My hand reached for the doorknob. My knees began to shake. As I turned the knob, my entire body was shoved backwards onto the floor. Sand began to pour in through the doorway. I wanted to move, yet my body refused to respond. Why was there sand in the middle of a mountain? I hadn't even felt this much sand since... My mind began to remember. My eyes broke open, lying face down in the middle of a stretch of desert. I sighed. 5 weeks ago, I was in my room, guzzling a mouthful of water. Been in this desert for a week, found nothing but memories and sand. Moving from one dwarven caravan to the next, I worked my way out of the diamond tips. Stepping foot in the Stone Shadow Coast was awe-inspiring. I knew I was walking the right path when the new sight brought tears to my eyes. Here I am now, sitting in sand during a smoldering day, guzzling water to survive. I sighed and bowed my head. My eyes trembled a moment with a doubt, and a shadow was seen crawling across the rigid sand. I shot my head up to look across the landscape for a giant, then in the sky for a dragon. Fire raced into my eyes as I gazed across the sun. My arm quickly shot up to protect my eyes. An eclipse. Fear should not be your enemy here. The heavens are moving. Returning my eyes to the sky, I stopped with a shock. A woman stood before me, looking down to where I sat. Her presence seemed to apply pressure to my entire body, but I was not threatened by her. She reminds me of my mother. I've been with you, watching you since your birth, Oli. I wish for you to look upon this land with me. You do not need to change who you are, but I can offer you paths to help find what you seek. I blinked slowly. Only my childhood friends called me Oli. Since the training for the war, I didn't hear it much. When this woman said it, I almost cried. I already see you understand, she said. She reached forward to rest a hand on my cheek. Travel to the northwest. In 2 weeks you'll come upon a mountain man not from this land. Greet him as you would a noble to your family's home. She took a moment to smile. Her touch was warm on my cheek. I want to trust her, believe her. But who is she? Maketa, she said, catching me off guard. You know my name. Feel free to whisper me when you wish. Be safe, Oli. Within a blink she was gone, and the blinding sun returned to its glory. My arm quickly came up to cover my eyes as I searched the horizon. There was no one. I'm not alone, I whispered. I removed the compass from my backpack. The point spun a moment, swayed, and then stopped. My first step was directly to the northwest. My second step was towards my destiny. Stepping slowly through the rubble, I scanned the area for any signs of life. Magic does not simply appear without a source. The shockwave I felt came from in here. My foot stopped at the sign of metal rustling across stone. There is someone. I took another pair of steps toward the source before hearing the metal crash against the stone once more. Mysterious music.
Have I really had that tooth up the whole time?
Alright, that's the end of Monkeys. Starry, very nice. Okay, so for the next one, this is Crazy Bob's story. And I made some slight adjustments to his, and I'm going to read it in a funny voice. Basically, there's the captain of the guard comes into the bar where he's at and starts to ask the bartender about any adventurers that may be there. And he's interrupted by a man. Psst. Hey, guardy boy. What, you be looking for a hand? An adventurer who can fight? Sure, there be one you'd do well to speak to. The dark-haired man against the far wall wearing the chain shirt. Oh, he's a decent man. Good fighter. He and I had a spot on a ship that came through about a month ago. Ran into some pirates. Nasty business. But a good story. Care to hear it? No. Now hold on, man. I be telling the truth. Listen to what we've been through, and I promise you'll be interested in his adventuring. All right, that's the spirit. Now listen up. That ship, the White Lady was her name, on account of a washwood figurehead of a lovely young maiden. She held a large shipment from Haydale, bound for the hallowed city of Leffield. The trip held favorable winds, and the weather was kind, but the pirates were not. They got up to the Lady 300 leagues outside of its destination. They flew a red flag with a black gauntlet at its center. Rumor had spread that the Black Hand pirates, but none of us had yet crossed their swords. We didn't know. The hand shot low across the lady's bow, slogging the vessel down, the wake churning across her rattled prow. Slowed, the lady became an easy target for ropes and hooks, pulling her ever closer to being boarded. We had 12 good men on board. The hand sent 20. We managed to take down 3 of them with our blunderbuss, while they crossed the gap, but more charged on. With no time to reload, the melee had come. Chaos befell the lady as all fought, raging like men possessed. A cacophony of singing blades, the pop of lit powder, captains shouting orders over the rising tide of screams as bodies lined the deck. Overrun, slowly losing ground as each man fell, we were pushed below. Injuries continued to mount as the fighting led through the ship. What remained of us were pushed into the aft hold, I managed to bar a heavy door with a rifle stock. By that time, we lost all but the captain, the first mate, and 3 crew. Surveying the damage and tending to wounds, we resolved ourselves to a valiant last stand. Shouting, loud cracks, and the booming of multiple footsteps kept us on guard, but the hand never came. After some time, the smell of smoke filled our nostrils and lungs. The hand knew we were trapped with no exit. Instead of risking more men, they carried off what they could fit on board and decided to burn the rest, along with any remnants of resistance. Finally, we freed ourselves and began to fight the flames. Buckets of water were hauled fast over the ship, too many to count. Rags over our faces, eyes burning from smoke, we stood victorious over the charred remains of the blaze. We were alive, and the lady was still afloat. But several sections of the deck and half the sails were lost to the fire, and 1 more crew to the smoke. It was a slow journey after that, but she finally made it to Leffield. The captain made a pittance selling what he could, unable to fulfill his largest orders. He had enough to fix the prow, buy a sail. She wasn't pretty, but seaworthy enough to make a return trip to the Haydale shipyards. With no merchants willing to put cargo on a ship in such a state, and not enough coin to fully repair, the lady had to set sail with a skeleton crew. Injured and unable to sail, the first mate and myself had to stay in Leffield and recover. Now that we're here, I turned to fishing to make do, but the first mate, Argus, he's seeking something more. Bit of adventure and some profit. Drinking, wenching, gambling his nights away, waiting for the sea to call him back home. So if you're still interested in an adventurer, go over and talk with him. It looks like he's finishing his last drink. I'm sure he would appreciate another. All right, that's it. Crazy Bob's amazing story.
Thank you, man.
Beautiful.
Yep. Much appreciation for reading this. The chat just fell in love with your voice, and I think many of them want to have your babies.
Oh, good. We'll be having a very busy night.
Thank you, man. I really don't know what to say. Whatever I would want to say, you would just end up saying better. So thank you, man. Really, that was amazing.
Thanks for sitting through it.
Oof, no, are you kidding me? God, I wish
That was awesome.
I don't even want to play anymore. We might as well just stop. I mean, it was. Thank you.
GG,
Thank you,
guys.
man.
That's the opening night. It's all.
Yeah, that was the campaign. We're done. It's over. Character dies. The end.
Yay.
Back to World of Warcraft. Oh, wait, we don't play that anymore. Wait a minute.
No, that doesn't happen here. We play WildStar. What's wrong with you people?
WowStar does look pretty good.
Oh, yes.
I mean WildStar, sorry.
Oh, it works.
All right. I guess we are ready to get going.
They asked for more stories.
Oh God. Oh, alrighty. Anyway, so I'll do a bit of scene. I mean, we have a direction, of course, with the end of Bob's story, but here's the scene as it is. Throughout the day before this conversation, as follows, you all end up in this bar. Bob's been. I mean, let me start calling by actual character names. Argos is already in this bar. He's been here for a while, and he notes all of you coming in. You don't see him necessarily, but he sees you because, you know, he doesn't have anything else to do his time. The order comes as followed. We have Kenzua and... Oh my god, I'm not going to be able to pronounce your character's name, Crisette.
Shanna?
Kez is also there for short.
Kez, okay, there we go. You two walk in first. A few hours passed, and then Othos, and Eddie come in. You're all separated at the bar. So we'll open it up with Mr. Argos. You see a man in full official armor looking towards you with a mug of some kind of beverage walking up to you. I came in here looking for some adventurers. I was up to the bar keeping a man that knows you. I believe his name was Jonas, said he sailed with you and gave me quite an interesting story. Thought I'd come offer you this drink and potentially a job offer. Unmute.
Muted.
Or Cruzette, you need to unmute him.
Thank you. Well, you know how to greet a man. Thank you. Tell me about this job.
Well, some travelers along the road have been complaining about a group of 4 bandits that have been terrorizing them and charging them fees for traveling along the roads. And as you well know, many of the military and many of the guard were called in for the war that literally just ended not too long ago, and they haven't been able to make it back. So we're a little tight, and we're having to deal with things here. We're just looking for some well-armed people to carry out this job to go handle these people.
I know how hard it is to get home sometimes. I can help.
Alrighty. Have you... I would imagine you've been here. I would imagine by yourself it might be a hard task. Would you have others in mind that might be here in this establishment right now that could assist you?
I stand up. If there's some sort of bandits, if there are bandits terrorizing the countryside,
We'll say you're not here to read it. You're not here to hear him yet.
Oh.
You're not within earshot.
Okay.
We'll clarify. None of you guys are within earshot of his table. He's kind of in the corner.
Okay.
You just see. I mean, of course, you'll notice a man in armor seeing and talking to this guy. So I mean, you're curious, but yeah. So that's where it is.
Right.
Sweet.
Hold on, guys. I'm just readjusting the windows real quick because things left.
No
So.
problem. I don't have anyone here that I know that could help, but there might be a few in the bar who just came in a bit ago that could lend some aid. I stand up, grab my drink, and I yell rather loudly, "Who here be brave men?"
I guess we're within earshot of that, right?
Yeah, the entire bar quiets down, and I mean, several people look in the direction of the voice. You guys clearly heard it.
The guard captain seeks aid. Who would answer his call?
I
All
rise. Well, I look over to Alethros. Because we're homies. We're friends. We Skype. And I look over him. At this point, I'm giving him kind of like, I think that we've traveled enough to where I'm like looking at him like, I feel like he knows something about my character at this point. Knows that this is the kind of thing that I'm like a knight errant in this way. When there's some sort of injustice or something like this, I would like to see it squelched.
As soon as you look over to me, I just kind of reply, you got that look in your eye. So go ahead and say it. I'm with you. We'll keep on this journey as well as we've been.
So, I stand up. I look at the name. How do you say that again? Arbos, and I say
Argos.
Arcos. Well, I don't know his name's Arcos.
Yeah, you just know a sailor.
But I stand up, and I acknowledge him quietly, but enough to say that I'm with you.
Good man.
All right. So at this point, after hearing the two of them stand up, I'm going to stand up as well, putting down my drink, and look back. I have 2 questions. 1, is there money to be made? And 2, it depends on your definition of bravery.
Well, coin is never an issue. I would imagine being set on this task, you will be paid, and depending on the group number, we will break it accordingly. Bravery, I would say, if you don't mind taking a life that has caused our community, many of our travelers in this town, some great deal of problems.
They're killing innocents?
They are robbing them, taking funds that they shouldn't be asking for to travel along these roads that, sadly as it may sound, we cannot go and do this problem ourselves due to the lack of guard since they were called to the recent war and have not made it back.
All right, so I guess at this time, after you say that, I'm going to look back at Susanna, kind of looking for a nod of agreement before I actually move forward.
Why not?
Well, then it's decided. I slam my drink to the counter. Where are we going?
We will go first to the councilman house to set all the in orders to give you all the information you need. If you will just follow me. And with that said, I will. By the way, just so this is stated, if Chris would go to the map and go to the hollowed city of Leafield, just so we all know, stream purposes, where you guys are starting. Are you on the map, Chris?
Yes, I am, sir.
Do you have Leafield to where I can do this and ping it?
Let me bring it. Whoa, I didn't realize I could scroll it. Can you ping the map and will it bring us? Oh, there we go. Let me get my zoom on. This is where I have to do my director work. Booyah!
I need to zoom out this map a little bit. Where's that zoom option? Here we go. Let's do 70.
Yeah, there's a zoom option for you guys.
And go ahead and ping it again. Oh, there we are. Okay, sweet.
That is where you're starting. So now we need to go to where we are. So quick transition.
Sweet.
Oh my, this is very interesting. I'm not going to see your guys' faces for just a second. Alrighty. So, for purposes, you guys are starting in this tavern. If it pings up, I can ping it again. Did everyone see where you're starting?
Yes. Yep. Hold
All right.
Hold on. Not yet because I didn't have it in
Okay.
frame. Let me drag that over.
Oh, I need to play something. Because you'll be stepping outside, so this will be heard. And there's a random dice roll.
Sorry, I'm still making my macros.
That's fine. Alright, I'll ping again.
One more time. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
There we go. Okay. Great.
Alright, so you guys are starting in this inn/bar. You will be traveling north up the road. And I can ping... here, actually, no, I can do this. Pay no attention to the ruler indicators. It's just a directional path. This is not to scale, it's a reference point. So you travel up to this intersection. You'll be taking a right to the building. Uh-oh, wrong thing. The building here. This is your current location. This is the courthouse, jailhouse, manor where the mayor of the town lives. That is his current residence.
Sleeps with the criminals.
Yep, totally. As you pass by, of course, you see several citizens. You do get some interesting glances just because you're being led by the town guard. They all know that this is the town guard. Upon approaching the building, you see within the courthouse building that there's a front desk and room's fairly decorative, pretty nice, pretty elegant. You could definitely tell that this is a building of importance. Government official stuff happens in here. Guard goes, all right, so it seems as though 5 of you will be taking on this task. The most information we have about these incidents is they happen along the road to... I actually have to take a look at the map real quick. I feel stupid for this one. Just so I know how to pronounce it correctly.
Oh, dude, you watch enough role play to know that they spend half the time looking in books, flipping.
Yep.
Well, not that half the time, but they spend a lot of time referencing rules, and that's for the sake of the stream. You know what I mean?
Okay, so the road that they are most concentrated on is the road that leads to Mawick, the city of lamps, as it is known to call, because it is rather bright. We don't really know why. I guess they are afraid of the dark. We're not necessarily sure. But somewhere along those roads is where it'll always be the same situation. Two men with a shield and sword will approach them on the road, and then they'll note that there are 2 men within trees pointing bows at them. We don't know exactly where they are holding up. There has been some speculation from eyewitnesses that they might be in a rundown tower. We know that there are some armaments around from old times, but the best we have noted is that as long as you walk to Mawick, eventually they might run into you, or you may see them scurry off, as you all are carrying some very profound weaponry, which I imagine you can hone those weapons in use.
I have a few questions for you here, boy. Has anybody ever confirmed the 2 archers? Have there only been the 2 that have ever been sighted, or has anybody ever actually seen the 4?
We're not necessarily sure. They've only stated that there might be 2 that they've seen. They make it visible that there are bows being pointed at them just for effect, how it seems.
Now, 2 men, why is this not a task that the guard is able to take up?
We are stretched thin. Besides myself and maybe 4 others, we are the only ones right now currently within the city, and we've been trying to make it seem like that is not true.
But the war is over. I would see that you guys wouldn't be stretched thin and that you would be regenerated by now.
Our soldiers have not yet come back from the battlefield. They are actually en route. They should be here within a few weeks, but this matter is starting to worry the population, and they feel that it is something that needs to be addressed.
Just an environmental question. Are we speaking only to the town guard here, or are we speaking at the councilman's house as well?
You are put into an office. Sorry, I didn't state that, but he took you to an office of closed doors to not scare anyone that might be around. And I have a quick question, actually, Cruzette. With that, with your scythe, how do you wield it? Is it on your back? I was wondering that. It's on your back?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I thought about it. The 2 of us carrying weapons would probably look kind of scary. And really scary.
Yeah, a little bit, maybe. That's why the guard, referenced that they might run away from the sight of your weapons, so keep a keen eye out. Now, as of a matter of pay, we have actually been rounding up enough, and our councilman, our lord, I guess our mayor, as we all call him, he's not really a lord, more of a mayor, he has allowed us to spend 1,500 gold, and that would be split amongst each of you in equal share. It is most keen that this matter gets taken care of, and this is the budget that we have scrounged around just for the urgency of the matter.
Okay, so at this point I'm going to kind of step forward with a little shrug on my face, or with a little shrug motion going on. I don't see much of a problem. We're getting paid. It sounds like there's only 2 of them. If there are any more, that just means there's a whole lot more fun to be had. Let's go. What's the worst that could possibly happen?
It's a fair price for a bit of danger. I'm in.
I like this guy already. So who else is with me?
The price.
When did these start? Do you have any association with these bandits being a part of your town, or did they come from just out of the blue?
From our knowledge of the accounts of the eyewitnesses, they are not citizens of Leafield. We believe they may have came from up inland. Sorry. There are known to be other bandits of bigger stature with actual leaders within our lands, and we've tried to address them. Some of them are tricky. They keep on the move. This may be a scouting party of them, since it is so small, or it may just be a few individuals down on their luck that think they can take advantage of non-wielding citizens that travel.
Well, I'm definitely interested in learning more from these bandits, so I'm in.
And I'm in because anybody who commits crimes against innocent country folk deserves to be brought to justice. Now, what I'm asking you now is, how are we to confirm our payment? Is this dead or alive? Are we bringing back scalps? What do you need?
If death has to be, we would love to question them. We would love to be brought in, but we know in this world there are those that would rather fight to the death than be taken in alive. If death does befall them, just bring one thumb from each, depending on how many. We even have a document written up so that we as our industry will sign it along with yours, saying that we have bonded this agreement and we will uphold this agreement when thumbs of the accused or the accused themselves are brought to us.
Okay, and then if we, we'll also do a bit of investigation as well. If we can find any sort of information about further bandit activity, or if we can bring back a knowledgeable captive, we'll attempt to, but can't really make promises. And
we understand that.
Does the town's guard have a covered wagon or some way that we might be able to use a guise to look as a merchant in order to entice these bandits to attack us? They may not want to attack 5 heavily armed individuals.
And yes, I can completely agree with that. I will say that some accounts they have attacked merchants that maybe only have 1 or 2 guards that are almost as armored as some of you. We've been accounts that they say that there are more of them than what appear. That is why the caravans get scared. Actually, I believe there might be a trader going up to Mawick today to trade in some goods. You might want to go down and talk to him. I believe he's in the Stabbered Paw. It's just down the street.
I also suggest cloaks or robes to hide weaponry, if anyone has them available.
I look at my spear and give a chuckle.
I turn to my back and this is going to be fun.
For a reference, since we are on the map, where you guys will be heading is, if you see it on the ping, and I hope you all do, I can ping it again. That is your destination, just so you know. But yes, it is just down the block. Actually, the blacksmith is just at the corner. It's just across from there. You should see a sign of a little cat's paw print. That's his trademark. There may even be, I believe when we passed by, he had a wagon close pulled up, getting filled, I believe, if you all recall. But yes, that would be I would encourage you to go ask him. He may even give you some coin too, to assist him in this.
Yeah, we could kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We can provide an escort for him, in addition to use his cart as a way to lure out the bandits. I would suggest, the majority of us hide in the back, while maybe he just rides and maybe he just looks like he's going with 1 or 2 guards. But we can discuss that once we've talked to him.
I think we have an excellent plan going on. My only concern is timing. If this merchant isn't wanting to leave till later, we would have an opportunity to go ahead and take a covered wagon, if the guard would provide one, to make sure that no innocents are harmed. However, if this is something outside the price range of the guard and something that the merchant is willing to do, I would definitely be willing to go that route in order to save the guard a little bit of money and keep this merchant on his time schedule as well.
If push comes to shove, we do have spare wagons, of course, for transport. The only stipulation is your reward would be damaged some if the horses provided to carry the wagon were to come under illness or harm on this journey.
I would be more inclined to do something like that rather than put the life of an innocent at risk. But once again,
the innocent might be an old swordsman. Some of these merchants are pretty hardy. Most of the dwarves back home are weaponeers as well. They're fighters, so they know how to protect their own caravan. He might be up for it. We need more information, I think.
Doesn't hurt.
I can vouch for Garth, the owner. He is very handy with a bow. He tried through ill repair to nail one of them, but they kind of made it clear that they were already aimed on them by shooting 2 holes into his caravan, scaring him a little bit. But if you go down, and I can assist you to go down there and tell you that you guys are being contracted by us to go take care of this problem, it may incline him to allow you to accompany him and be a little bit more, if I can speak English, be more willing to go out through this journey with you.
That will help greatly. Thank you.
But if you all are in agreement, I happen to have the document here. I would assume all of you know how to write in common to at least put down a signature. With that, he pulls out a parchment and puts down a pen and ink, signing the captain of the guard's signature into the ledger. You already see that there are many other official names on this piece of paper already, with a seal ink, I guess, whatever you would call it. English, forget English. But yes, you see an insignia of ink onto the paper as well.
I go over the contract, look for any stipulations they want out of us, anything that wasn't told.
It's rather cut and dry, saying that the party in question is agreeing to go take care of their problem through any means of their own, giving some kind of proof stipulated by the guard that the deed has been done, and the award will be 1,500 gold split among those who participated.
Alright, looks good. Give me the pen. We'll get this done.
He
Go ahead and
graciously
sign
hands you the pen. I would imagine you all in turn sign this document.
I sign.
Sign.
And I walk behind as well and sign the document.
All right, this is in order. Great. Are you going to need my assistance any further? Going down to the what did I call this? What did I call it? I want to say Shaken Paul, right?
Sounds about right.
Okay.
No, I think we can find our way to Garth. If we need any more assistance, we'll come back here. Can we find you at this location?
Yes, I will be here within my office. If I'm not out in the lobby, just ask them for me. My name is Jonas, by the way. He extends an arm to shake whoever's closest. In turn, he's going to shake all your hands, basically. Do you all shake his hand?
I shake his hand.
I wipe my hand on my cloth and shake his hand.
All right. Cruzette, does your character shake his hand? All right. All right.
Just stares at him as she does.
All right. With that said, he opens his door from the office. He leads you back to the lobby, and shows you, of course, where the main doors are. I wish you got all the best of luck, that this situation be taken care of without any injuries befalling you. And with that, he allows you. He goes on. What does the party do? Do you all head directly to where you need to go?
I start talking, but I say to the group, we should be wary about accepting a job of protection and a bounty job at the same time. Otherwise, we'll have to split the party to continue to guard the caravan on the way. Unless we don't intend to return any of the bandits back alive.
Well, I don't see much of a problem. It's a 2-for-1 deal. We get to escort someone and take out some bandits at the same time. We're both helping 2 sets of people and possibly can get any help ourselves.
Well, I'm personally foregoing any item or gold reward from the caravan themselves. I feel like I'm getting plenty from the guardsmen, and I'd be doing a service to the merchant as well here. So whatever you guys work out, I'm going to just be offering my services.
That is, unless you guys are not confident in your abilities.
And I'm also wanting to at least interrogate some of the bandits, so there could be a chance that I leave some of them alive, at which point I would have to escort them back. So if somebody did want to go on, we would need to figure that out.
Fair enough. One can use the blunt side of his blade in a fight, I guess.
You can cut him as much as you want. I can mend any wound.
If he gets cut, he won't be alive. There won't be much talking to happen. But that's besides the point. We're not even there yet.
All right.
Let us find out what Garth proposes to us first. And I start to walk south. Or I guess it would be west to the crossroads and then south.
Whoops.
All right, as you guys pass by a obviously looking blacksmith, has several forges out in the open, even has an anvil, you notice just to your left on the road, you see a great sign that has just a paw print, nothing more, just a paw print on it. And you all assume that is the store in question, Garth's. And you see that there is a covered wagon being loaded as we speak. You see men coming in and out. You notice one of them happens to be fairly built, bigger. Then you notice a somewhat medium one coming out. I imagine you are approaching now.
Yep.
Okay, you approach. One of them looks and says, "How may I help you?"
We were sent here by Jonas. You're making a trip to... What's the name of the town again? Sorry.
Mawick.
Mawick. We heard you were making a trip to Mawick.
Indeed, Garth is actually getting this transport ready to go take some of his wares up to Mawick to see if he can sell any of them to the local public. Do you want to speak with Garth right now? I can go get him.
Please.
With that, he departs in the store. 5 minutes pass, and you see a man dressed in fairly plain clothing. It's all brown, mostly a robe. You see an obvious short bow attached to his back with a quiver. He's got somewhat long hair, not as long as mine here, of course. It's not in a ponytail yet, mostly like monkey's hair. It's jet black. He's an average build, about 5 foot tall. He looks average, as you can see. Comes up to you. Yes, my name is Garth, and I hear Jonas sent you my way about my little expedition that we were planning.
Yes, we've been hired to take care of the bandit problem.
Yes, those scurvy fellows actually held me up for quite a bit of coin not a few days ago, actually.
Was it only 2 of them? I heard you've had confrontations, nearly took one out.
Yes,
but there are rumors there could be 4.
It appeared to only be 2 at once. That is why I actually fought. I used my bow, as you can see on my back, to try and nail one, but had what seemed to be more than 2 arrows pierce my caravan here, which got me to stop. I only saw 2. The 2 men, they had swords and shields. They asked for a toll, a substantial toll, to actually come back to town. I could not tell you more. There may be more than just 2. With the arrows that impacted, I would say there might be 5 or 6.
So as he's talking, my character begins muttering to himself, based off of what he said. 1, 2, but swords, multiple shots, probably more. We're looking at, I'd guess 6. Probably a little closer to that if we're looking at multiple arrow shots. Being more than 2, and there were 2 in front of you with obvious swords and shields.
I say to him then, well, 4 of us are looking to sell themselves as guards. Myself as a holy man, I feel to donate my time to you. Would you be interested in hiring us as guards as we pursue the bandits out into the wild? We feel as though you could benefit as well as we could benefit.
Actually, I was just about to go to the local 3 inns to see if there were any mercenaries, so to speak, or hired hands that would want to accompany me. This is actually very, very convenient for me. Did you have a price in mind that you might want? I could even trade with you some things that our store has.
Well, first of all, some of us have some ties here to town, so we would like to know how long you would like the guardship to last. Would you like to have it all the way, or maybe only the bandits be taken care of?
Honestly, if you're contracted by the town to go take care of these bandits, if we confront them and you can handle that situation, past this point we have never had any problems getting to Mawick or back. Just actually recently with these bandits have we had any problems. I would say that possibly a few handfuls of coin would be great, and you could just take us to that point, and if you deal with the bandits there, then we would be perfectly fine to go the rest of the way.
Well, 4 of these individuals, as well as myself, have actually been hired before for at least 300 gold coins. Could you match our price at this time?
Matching may be a bit difficult just because of how much they asked for us.
Taking this out of the question, that you would only be paying 4 individuals 300 and getting the work of 5 individuals that are worth 300.
He kind of strokes his chin. How about 250 per head of the 4?
Feeling generous. I'm gonna
It's a fair price. I would agree to it.
I'm gonna step forward at this point. You know what? A free ride to the bandits to take care of a job in an extremely easy sneak attack that can be pulled from this. 250? Yeah, it's a bargain. I'll go for it. Why not?
He extends his arm to shake your hand for acknowledgement and agreement of the deal.
I extend mine as well.
I accept that.
I accept telling him, "You have but my time and owe me nothing. May we have you only in hell."
All right, and he says very graciously, I appreciate that the guard sent you my way, knowing, and as of time, as soon as this cart gets loaded, we are on our way. We were planning to leave today. Hopefully this loading will only take a few more minutes, an hour at the max. If there's anything you need to do around town, we'll say 30 minutes from now, come back and we should be ready. We should be ready by then. I will make sure, and he kind of looks down for a second. Ensuring that this goes successful, I will have your payment on me as we travel. So as soon as the deed is done, I will be able to give you your money as soon as it is done.
Gotta guard my payment as well as guard a person and take out bandits. Interesting.
Hells, this is kind
Yes.
of like an out of game thing. So my character starts with a padded armor, because my outfit has to start less than 10 gold. Should I just stick with that for now? I'm not really aiming to upgrade to a leather right now, because either way I have to stick.
You can keep that right now. I mean, that can be taken down care of the road. I mean, anytime.
Yeah, okay, I think that just sounds better. Okay, sorry about that. All right.
He says, would you, I mean, last time it was just me and a few hands, and I was actually the only one with a visible weapon. Looking at all of you, I could see clearly we have a fine gentleman with a very distinct shield and sword, a dwarf, I would imagine. You are a dwarf, sir, I don't want to be mistaken. With a very fine spear, a mysteriously kind of puzzling catfolk that has 2 grand swords, a female with a scythe on her back, and sir, I don't know what weapons you're carrying.
Okay.
As it stands, he cannot see your weapons. Your weapons are not visible.
Okay, and just a quick clarification. I do have my father's revolver, but it is broken. And I only have one of them right now. Only one of them was left behind. Both of them were discarded, just to be clear. But I only have one of them that was damaged. The whereabouts of that other, I don't know right now. But what I do have is I do have my 2 apprentice revolvers. But right now, I've got them holstered, but at this point in my gunslinger career, I can only effectively fire one. Or did you say I could dual wield?
We
Yeah,
got the
we
dual wield thing, didn't we?
did the dual wield as your
That's right.
your background present.
That happened late last
for
night.
the
So
for the stream.
I pull out my revolvers and I brandish them.
Before you actually do that, I wanted to kind of give a little bit of a what's the word I was looking for here? Kind of a little bit of an intro for your character, Chris. And this is for me. This is from me to you, man. So about how far am I from Chris's character?
That is all up to you guys how you approached him.
Okay, so we'll say that I'm about, for lack of a better term, sword's length from Chris's character, roughly, standing off to his side. And after he smiles and said something and says, "I cannot see your weapon, sir," I kind of look over at Chris's character, since I had been kind of eyeing exactly what was going on with him from the first place. And I immediately brandish my sword quickly in front of him to see what would happen. And Chris, this is where I'm leaving it to you to see exactly how your character's going to react.
Hold on, I'm sorry. You brandish your sword to see what happened if you
I
brandish your sword.
immediately pull the sword from my back as quickly as possible, almost in a reactionary way, after asking what weapons you have, not to attack you, but to put it in your face, almost like in a threatening manner, to see how you will react to it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, when he's doing that, I draw my pistols, and gosh, I'm so tempted to just shoot the blade of his sword right now.
I'm guessing they're aimed in my face around these swords at this point.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I draw, I just draw them, you know what I mean, and not
chuckle
firing
them
any
with-
rounds in the house with people around.
With that display, you see Garth kind of stand in awe and say, "You have acquired weapons from the dwarves? How that is a rare sight to see."
I'm like,
And I can see from this display that both of you are very, very fast.
I had a feeling about this one. I like him already.
Yeah. I'm a gunslinger. I'm not from this world. I don't know how I got here.
His face kind of looks a bit
Yeah.
puzzling. That's a story maybe for some other time when we're sitting around after this endeavor. But
Right.
it's good to see that you're all well armed. Do you have any kind of plan that you want to set in motion for this? Because I mean, seeing all 5 of you probably around the caravan would be a bit distracting and allure them away. They haven't, I believe, faced any kind of well-armed individuals like yourselves.
Oh, but they will soon.
Do you have any room inside of your wagon?
We can make some acquired room. We're not taking terribly much to where it will be filled to the brim, but if you need any space, we can provide it. Are all of you wanting to be in the back, or how do you want to go about this?
Let me ask you one more question. Do you have wares that you're leaving behind that you wish that you could take forward?
Not particularly, no.
I was going to suggest that the guardsmen actually offered us another wagon, a fresh wagon. We might be able to get that one, secure some of our individuals on another part of that wagon, maybe some of your own wares that you couldn't take with you, and then you could continue on. And if you're returning this way, you could return it later, or we could return it with our own selves.
Is this caravan leaving during the day?
Yes, it will be leaving during the day. It will be leaving from this time, which is noon. I mean, I would say it's about 12:30 in the 12:30. It'll be leaving around 1. So yes, it will still be in the day.
Is your caravan at all covered?
What's the distance between here and the town?
You would ask me that question. Now I get to be geographically correct on
I just need to
distances.
know if it's going to take more than a night, because if we go into night, it's going to cause some trouble.
I like to think of things as in days ride. Like a single day's ride, 2 days ride, it just allows you to a lot of flexibility. You don't have to think about terrain. You don't got to think about any of that stuff. Really.
Since we have a geographical map, I would say that Mawick, under right circumstances, would be day and a half travel. You would theorize that you would get to the bandits within this day, if all comes to according to plan. To answer Cruz's question, he goes, well, yes, as you can see, our caravan is covered with a finely cloth. I believe if needed to provide, if you want to go with this second ideal, I would imagine that would encourage them. They would think it's a more wealthier merchant to come. If you can get the guard to supply it, if it is not necessarily covered, we can cover it for you. We would be more than happy to do that.
It's a good idea.
I will take this hour then, Garth, to go ahead and talk to the guardsmen that we had spoken to, Jonas, and see if I can get that prepared in the hour that you need to prepare.
Sounds like a great plan. Do any of you need anything? Potentially want to come take a look at what we actually sell here? Assist with maybe the loading? Anything?
I'll assist with the loading. That's fine.
Noticing Susanna actually had a question and had something to say, I jokingly push her forward towards the group.
Oh, Kaz, I need to ride inside the caravan during the day, if possible.
That would be up to you guys. As you see, Eddie and Garth go into the store, continue the loading.
I look over. I look over at Susanna and say, "Why must you ride inside?"
I'm walking away to go to Jonas, and I say, "You'll be able to when I get this next one," and then I continue walking.
I immediately kind of jump in front of Susanna before she gets a chance to answer and say, it's a fine young lady. You're really going to make her walk outside of a caravan when she could easily ride?
I accept that. I look at you. I'm looking at you, Chrono, and I'm like, all right. And I just continue to help load the wagon.
Do any of you else assist with the loading, or are you going to go do something else? I know we have to switch over to Ulthros, but he's...
You said 30 minutes, right, is what...
30 minutes.
Roughly 30 minutes for our time. Okay, well, if you guys need some assistance with loading, I guess I could help a bit.
I don't have anything to take care of. I'll help with the loading as well.
All right, then you all, unless, Cruzette wants to just chill, which is fine. But so you're all assisting with the loading. We'll go to Othros over, walking back to the guard. You approach the steps, you open the door, you don't see Jonas within eye range, I would imagine.
Yeah, I just ask around. He said to ask for him, and so I just asked to speak with Jonas or somebody that might be able to help me out with wares as official business of guarding the town from the bandits.
All right, the desk receptionist says, yeah, I will go see if he is in his office. I will be back momentarily. 3 minutes pass by, and you see the receptionist walk back with Jonas saying, did everything go well with Garth?
It went perfect. Unfortunately, I was planning to maybe hide some of our fellow guards in the back of his wagon, but he seems to be full. So in order to both give a more rich look of the caravan, as well as to cover some of our guards up, we would actually go ahead and we would like to take you up on one of the offers of that. As long as the horses aren't damaged, we use one of your caravans. Or wagons, I should say.
We can arrange it. Sadly to say, we only have open top wagons. We do not have any covered.
That's fine. Garth was more than willing to help us out with a cover, so we should be able to do that.
Fantastic. Follow me to the back, and we will set up this wagon with the horses.
Okay. I just follow him and go through all that. So yeah.
Okay. We'll go through this because getting the wagon will take up, and since you guys are only helping with the loading, we'll just focus on this. He takes you to the back, opens a wide door that leads into a quite decent stable, looking actually into the map, so you have a reference, so everyone has a reference. You're actually in this wing of it. It's a cylinder kind of stable. You see there's several wagons, and he points to one. He points to any. He goes, "These are the wagons we have. Some are smaller than others. Some are bigger than others. Which one would you prefer?"
I look for one that could potentially hold all 5 individuals, but more than likely just 4. Having the 5th exposed as like a driver.
You see 2 of them that can hold a driver plus could be 2 people in the back. You definitely see a bigger one that could hold 5 or more, actually. That is the biggest one they have. The others only could hold a driver plus 2.
I go ahead and I ask about the one for the 5-person and make sure that's something that they aren't going to need.
He kind of sits there and says, as long as this can be brought back safely, we will gradually accept this. It will take two horses. Do you know any way of handling horses?
Oh, I don't, but I'm sure Garth will know somebody. He works in this business.
I just meant to assist me in hooking them up. I can easily lead it down to Garth if needed.
I'm not bad with a donkey, but a horse is a little bit out of my height.
Fair enough. They do tower over a dwarf, not to offend you in any way, sir. With that, he kind of snaps his fingers, shouts down the hallway for some help. Someone comes and helps him. He hooks up the wagon to 2 fairly muscular horses, as you can see. The strongest ones that look in there, and he goes, "Now, I can't tell you how important these horses are. They are the strongest one in our guard, for this wagon specifically. I would hope that they come back without being injured."
Are they going to become startled in a fight at all?
Oh no, they normally are ridden by some of our knights. We do actually have quite a few knights in our arsenal just for occasions that happen around town. They would be the ones that would normally handle this business, but as I said, they're not back from the war yet.
Well, I'm confident in our group's ability to take care of not only the merchant and this town, but the horses as well. So I believe that you have nothing to fear and that they're in safe hands.
Excellent. With that, he goes to the door to open the stable doors that lead right up into the street. He offers, would you like to get up aboard, or do you prefer to walk?
Is it going to be easier for me to ride him down there or guide him, since there's 2 horses and all that? Because if it's easier to just drive, I'll go that route.
Yeah, it'd be easier just to hop on, because he, of course, knows how to handle these horses. He's done
this
this
before.
before.
I'll hop on. I'll just hop right up to the driver's seat and start taking him back to Garth.
All right, you mosey on down the road, and we will say that you see the rest of the party kind of sitting around the wagon. They're done loading. as that is said, you all see the town's guardman Jonas sitting in a wagon with two very muscular horses on a very big wagon with a dwarf holding a spear behind him, approaching you. He says, I see you're ready to go, Garth. I here lend this wagon to you to assist with this problem and getting it done. I have been assured that our horse and wagon are in very capable hands. Is there anything you need from me? Garth looks at him and says, no, I think we all can handle the outfitting of this expedition. And yes, you are right. Your horses are in very good hands. I will make sure that these get brought back to you in the perfect condition that they were left in us. With that, Jonas hops down, offers to assist you down, Othors, if you need it. Okay, and he heads back down to the guardhouse. This is when Jonas heads back down. Sorry if I said Garth, but Garth goes, all right, well, it's quite a bigger wagon than anticipated, but we can sure put a canvas on it, no problem. One of my boys here can assist in the handling of the horses. If none of you know exactly how to drive a horse and carriage, that's fine.
Well, that's actually one thing I wanted to bring up is would your boys be able to join us in this journey? Another pair of hands to assist you through this would be helpful, and they might know more about guiding these horses better than we would and act as the driver while we're just the guard.
Oh, most definitely. I always take 3 of my men here. They always help me with the unloading and such. So one of them definitely could guide that cart for you while we are going down the road. If needed, if none of you are proficient with, handling these horses, he will come back to town with you with that wagon, unless you want to go with me to the full journey. Okay, since nothing's being said, you see that they start bringing out canvases and stuff to outfit a tarp onto the wagon. The task takes a good 45 minutes. Are any of you assisting in the matter?
Yep, I assist. I'm assisting in every aspect of trying to get everything set up.
I'm assisting, but I'm complaining the entire time.
I'll assist as much as I can with the wagon.
Okay, well, then with that noted, with the assistance and complaining, the job gets done within 25 minutes instead of the 45 minutes. Garth sits there and looks at the wagons and says, well, I have some empty crates if y'all want to put them in front of the back so that you're not necessarily seen. With how we've set it up, the only way to see you would be to be looking directly in the back. Is that a plan you might want to do? They're very easy to lift. You can easily push them to the side. Boxes are no big problem. I have a dime a dozen here.
As long as there's a crate for us to sit on, I'm okay with this.
We can definitely provide that.
If a chair is down, I'm in.
You don't need a chair in a caravan.
A crate can always be a chair. And would you rather sit on the floor or sit on a crate?
Both are made of wood. Both at the button.
I jokingly say you're made of wood. And then turn and walk away.
Rock!
All right, well, we'll say for the sake of there are crates placed in there for you to sit on and to block the pathway. Garth says, is there anything else needed for this before we depart on our journey? Are you all shaking your head no?
No, I'm good. I'm fine.
Apparently, Bob is the only one that can unmute himself, so there's a problem.
Stop muting
No,
yourself.
I can easily.
Okay, wait. Bob, do you have a mute on your mic itself that you can
No.
turn on and off?
I mean, if I ever get muted in the chat, I lose the ability to unmute myself from the
But
host.
I'm not muting you.
I don't know why. It's just
I'm not
whenever
muting
it goes on, I can't turn it off.
Oh, God.
Secretly, Chris has been muting Bob this entire time.
I bet.
No,
It's weird.
I'm not running this. I can't mute anyone.
I'm joking.
Oh,
Chris is
Cruzette.
there.
You said Cruzette. I thought you said Chris.
No, I said it was Chris. I
Oh.
was messing with you, is what I'm saying.
All right, Bob, if you're muted... Oh, there you go. You're the host now.
Yeah.
Oh dear God, they shouldn't have done that. I have no idea how to run Zoom.
I don't think anything needs to be run. I think it's all set up. I think we're good.
Okay.
All right. So with that arranged, the party is ready. It's getting ready to depart. he decides to place your wagon in front with... He is the one actually driving your wagon. Garth is the one doing it, while there are 2 on the others, and there's a 3rd hanging on the back of the other wagon. And with that, you start to depart. We will take this time to see if the party wants to conversate with yourselves within this caravan. There will definitely be a signal when he gets close to the rendezvous point. But as it stands, you have some time.
Okay.
Socialize.
All right. So, real quick. I'm my character. This is kind of is kind of like you got to understand. I'm coming from a world. Well, I guess I'm not saying all this.
Yes,
not
you're
really not really saying much, but I've been in this world for a while. I know I'm used to monkey and stuff, but I've never really seen a cat person before, cat folk.
So your character has been obviously looking at Chrono in very interesting ways.
Kronos, yeah, I mean, I realize I'm in a strange world, and I'm not like, just not taking it, but I'm just not used to it. Not necessarily treating him differently or less than that, but, I'm really kind of just drinking everything in. Well, I am introducing myself. I'm Edward Dean, but you guys can just call me Eddie. And I'm a gunslinger. And what that basically means is, I'm a stranger to this world, and all I know is to do what I think is good, and that's why I'm on this mission right now. This is Electros. He's my buddy.
Hang on.
Oh, we're all
You're
strangers.
muted.
Hold on, you're muted.
Everything got quiet. Just like, wait.
Sorry, forgot to press A. I completely forgot. You guys need your travel music.
Oh, right. The delicious travel music.
Oh, my friend Edward.
Continue.
We're all strangers to this world. I've not seen the stretches of everything, and quite frankly, the cats are not a common thing in my place. And as I'm saying this, I pull out my jug of ale and I pour a drink and I hold it up to offer to just anybody who wants to take it. I'm a Lathros. I'm from the Diamond Tip. I'm just trying to explore the world and see what's out there.
Well, as he he puts that drink out, I walk over and take it from his hand, take a huge gulp, and then sit back for a moment and just kind of laughing to myself. Well, if you're looking to meet catfolk, you're probably looking at the wrong one. Not really like many catfolk you'll see around. Granted, not all of us are carrying 2 large swords and walk around with, look back jokingly, people along with them.
It is just a pleasant sight. I can't say I ever will know the catfolk until I visit your homeworld, but it is still pleasant.
Oh yeah, of course. And Eddie, did you say your name was?
Eddie, yes.
Kezu is my name, and Kez for short makes it much easier to say. Pretty quick on the draw there. Is that the whole gunslinger thing? Is that what you were talking about? Those strange weapons you carry along with you?
We're gunslingers. We're trained since birth to basically hone our bodies for combat. And well met, Kez. I'm very impressed with your speed as well. Perhaps you would have been an excellent gunslinger in another life.
As people are
I
talking,
grab the drink and I say, both your speeds are good. Just don't hurt each other next time.
If we wanted to hurt each other, I'm pretty sure it would have happened at that point.
Chris, I'm gonna have to criticize you. You're making this difficult for me. Just a side note. On the sheets, on Roll20, everyone filled out a character sheet for a quick reference. Chris did not, so I have to get his character sheet up.
Oh, I am so sorry.
I actually filled mine in right during the actual set when all of the backstory stuff was being read is when I was filling mine in.
To tell you the truth, I totally forgot about that till you said something about it right there. I was like, oh my god, there was something I was supposed to do.
Jesus.
Mine's completely and totally half-assed. I'm gonna be honest.
And the funny thing
It's
is,
fine,
I've
I just
actually
need quick
changed my
references to
I've
it.
actually changed my stats around a bit. I've actually increased my intelligence and lowered my charisma.
So, just so I get this right, your perception is 7, correct? It's plus 7.
Yes.
Alrighty, that assists with what I needed to know. Continue.
All the while everyone's talking, Susanna continues to jab Kez in the back, glaring at him all the while as he talks about the quiet, weird person behind him. I'm unlike his kind, but I live with them. I'm Susanna, and there's a lot about me you don't need to know yet. But I didn't know my food could talk and be sassy all the while.
Oh, hey, come on now. I have a name. You could use it every once in a while.
Oh, you're my snack.
And she
Well.
wonders why I make fun of her.
You two are very interesting, but you seem to have a friendly nature about you. So it's both of you are well met.
Same to yourself, sir.
Well met, Eddie.
I don't think I've ever seen a smile on Susanna's face when she talks to someone. That's new.
Didn't know food could talk.
I didn't know dreary people could smile. Anyway, so
Quick! Wait, Chrono, you said Dampier in your statement, right?
no, I didn't say anything about Dampier. I didn't
What-
I didn't know
what'd you say?
dreary people could talk.
Oh, dreary. Okay,
Or dreary
sorry.
people could smile.
I just need
excuse
to
me.
make sure that I didn't need everyone to do a roll. Okay, go continue.
Yeah, no. I didn't say that. I'm not going that far. Anyway, and then I look to forgive me, crazy Bob, I do not remember the name of your character.
Argos.
Argos.
So I look to Argos and say, "Well, we haven't had a lot of interaction. You seem to be the one who got all this together. What's your story?"
Well, I've been in the town for a couple of weeks now after we had some running with my pirates. Some pirates on my ship that I was traveling across the sea, and been stuck in town, been helping out here and there ever since.
I interrupt him for a split second. Pirates, you say? The plundering kind of pirates?
Yes.
I sit back for a moment as well as I continue to listen.
Well, I don't know what other kind of pirates there would be. They're always in it for profit.
Or other things.
There are many different types of pirates, many I've dealt with in my day.
But in my travels, I've seen all kinds of races and peoples. More interesting, though, is the story about coming from a different world. That is definitely new to me, so I hope to figure that out.
I do too, friend. All I know is when I came to, I was in this place, and my friend Alethros was here to aid me. It's a strange world. I had never seen one of the dwarven. I've never even heard of a dwarf before, and I'm seeing many strange creatures in my travels on this world. And I'm not quite sure what I'm searching for yet, or how I can ever get back to this, to my homeworld, or even if it's there anymore, or where I am. So,
As I've said many times, you seek a door, you will open it one day.
thank you, friend. I
And to
appreciate it.
answer your question, this is Falonde.
Thank you.
With a blue sun, I might add.
Yeah, I come from a world with a yellow sun, and I
Yellow sun?
feel like I've abandoned all hope of ever returning. So,
May take time, but don't give up hope.
So it seems like the conversation seems to be winding down a little bit, and I'm still really curious of those. They looked almost like small crossbows that you pointed in my face. What exactly were those again?
these are called what we call revolvers. I then, well, this is the chosen weapon of a gunslinger. There are not many of them exist in my world anymore. And gunslingers are the only ones trained in using them. The weapons of the gunslinger are passed down from through a family, from father to son or to daughter, and well, while I do not have my father's, I have one of my father's guns. It is not beyond repair, but I have not repaired it yet. But the ones that I carry are my apprentice revolvers. They are not nearly as sophisticated